Hey there, Andrew Pierce here, CEO and therapist at Blueprint Therapy Solutions in Woodbury, Minnesota. I was just thinking about something. I saw an ad for some investment company that said, and one of their caveats at the end of their ads always says, past performance does not guarantee future results. And that's intended as a warning to potential investors to cover their ass, basically, right? I would argue that when somebody is considering making a fundamental change in their life, like going from active addiction to becoming a person who's joining the recovery community, it's quite common for people to base their projections of their future prospects on their past performance. And that's a big mistake, because when we go through a recovery process and we develop self-awareness to gain the ability to think about what we're thinking about in real time and correct it, thanks to the miracle of parallel processing, right? There's the stupid part of our brain that wants to do addictive stuff, and then there's the hopefully newly enlightened, smarter part of our brain that's gaining new information, so that part of our brain can hold up the old conditioned thinking patterns to and evaluate them and say, yeah, this is pretty stupid. Why am I thinking this? What's behind this? And we develop the capacity to think about what we're thinking about. The clinical term for it's metacognition, which sounds very impressive. Anyway, when someone says past performance does not guarantee future results as a warning in investments, that's one thing, but I think it should be taken to heart as a sign of hope, and also as a principle by which to navigate recovery relationships, right? If somebody's in recovery and they were in active addiction, for instance, over the course of the relationship, at some point, I think it's common for both parties, really, the formerly addicted person and those that are in their inner circle, stakeholders in their well-being, if you will, to project the future based on past performance. And that's simply a mistake, because when we go through a good, thorough recovery process, with whether it's a treatment or a therapist or some combination of the above, or AA or whatever sort of change process that we're going through, we literally are becoming somebody else. And that, depending on the depth and quality of that recovery, it almost becomes as though that person that used to be in active addiction, it feels like a dream that you don't quite remember, or when somebody reminds you of something in the past, it's almost as though they're talking about somebody else, but in fact they are talking about somebody else, because the wiring in our brain is different when we've gone through a recovery process. So I guess that's my driving around with your therapist. I'm not driving today because I'm too lazy to do so, and I'm waiting to go into a session in a minute. But yeah, past performance does not guarantee future results. And for us, that's a good thing, and it's an important thing to keep in mind when you're navigating recovery, whether you're on the addiction to recovery side of things, or if you're in a relationship with somebody who was in addiction and is now in recovery, because you don't want those old conditioned thought patterns of distrust and fear to infect your current perceptions of your loved one. It's not very supportive, it's not very useful, and it also helps to bring some hope to the relationship and to everybody. I hope you have a great day. I'm Andrew Pierce, therapist at Blueprint Therapy Solutions in Woodbury, Minnesota. My email is andrew@blueprinttherapysolutions.com. Sorry it's so long. The website is www.blueprinttherapysolutions.com. And the phone number, if you still communicate that way, is 651-424-1967. Andrew Pierce. Hope you have a great day.